So the best way to pack your bug out bag, after you know what you want to put in your bug out bag, it's good to know how to best pack it. And this is just bug out in general packing is what I'm doing with this. Keep the most important things for your survival closest to you. That means here when your last plan, your last resort should be walking. And hopefully you can drive, maybe even ride a bicycle. But if you don't have, if the roads aren't passable, or if for some reason your bike won't even make the trek, you need to be prepared to walk it, and you need to also be prepared to maybe lose some of your baggage too. If you were carjacked, or if you just couldn't get gas for your vehicle, you ended up having to ditch something because it was just too heavy, couldn't physically carry it. The point behind buying stuff for and having stuff for a bug out is not to have it slow you down, it's to give you options. So as ditching something as a last resort, it's still good to make sure that you are prepared in the event something has to be ditched. It's not going to be your most important items. What you're going to be most inclined to keep is going to be directly on you. So, on your body, in your pockets. And you probably don't have a dedicated outfit for bugging out with. So, having a baggie of things, or just the grab list, probably a little bit of both, whatever can fit in that baggie, is what you're going to put in your pockets last minute. And those are your most crucial items that you will need. Maybe even keep that baggie in the bug out bag in place of the cans of food and stuff like that you don't want to have in there regularly because you want to keep it in your rotation. I have a different video on that, but in this case, so there should be some extra space if you're storing things, and that would be a good spot to go ahead and put those last minute grab in your pocket, critical for survival items. These would be things like, say, a bottle of water. So maybe you won't make it to the nearest stream without at least a bottle of water. You know that. That's absolutely crucial. So having a bottle of water in your pocket would be important. Maybe having whatever it is that you really feel is super important, should be closest to you. And then as you pack other items, if you have a plate carrier, a belt, a fanny pack, a backpack, as you pack those are things that you're putting the lesser important items in as you move towards that direction. So your backpack should have the stuff that's more towards your comfort, not as critical for your survival as the things that are in your pockets, on your plate carrier. And then as you move further there, as you're preparing to load out your vehicle, because ideally you will be taking your vehicle and you should know what you're going to be able to put in your vehicle. Your vehicle should be that bug out bag. If you have to ditch your vehicle, you still have your bag, you grab it and you're gone. But the vehicle is lesser important items than what you even have in your bag. And if you also have a bicycle or a motorcycle or whatever else, if that can fit on your vehicle, then that should be packed with the next most important items after your pedestrian bug out setup. So most important stuff is directly on you, and what you plan on carrying, your bug out bag, all the way up to your bug out bag. Those are your most important items for your survival. And that goes in your car. Perhaps maybe even in your bike trailer or in your saddlebags for that bike. And then inside that vehicle is the items that are still you want, but not as critical. So that way if you have to ditch something, you're not ditching your most critical items for survival. And there are also other things too that you want to keep pretty close to you, and some of these items will probably be the critical items for survival. So you might keep that bug out bag maybe even on your front seat. And if you have multiple vehicles or multiple bicycles or even multiple people that are walking as a group, spread out your supplies among the different vehicles. That way everyone kind of has their own supplies. That way if you're separated or something happens to a vehicle, you don't lose everything. That way everyone still has a little something if they're separated. So there are certain things that you want to have highly accessible. A protection implement. If you are in a situation where you're attacked, you will need to make sure here that you understand that that is a race for your life situation, and they have the upper hand. They planned it. You're just responding. So that needs to be very highly accessible. First aid, you need to also have that easy to access. If you are injured, it may restrict your ability to access things, and time could be crucial. If you really hurt yourself bad, it could be a matter of seconds that you have to respond to that injury. So that should also be highly accessible to have your first aid stuff. And communications, and that's something that is, if you have a Vox capability on a radio, that's voice operated transmission is what that means. And you can set that up with a headset to where you can simply talk and you don't have to touch your radio. The radio detects your voice and it activates the transmission. So it's same as pushing the push to talk. All you had to do is say something and you are talking on the air. So that's an option. So that way you don't have to use your hands. You can just talk to your people that way. Trail tools. That would be lights, multi-tools, anything which you're going to need to use along the trail. That you're not going to be, this isn't campsite tools, this is trail tools used in hiking. That stuff should also be pretty easily accessible. And your water and snacks, water particularly, you want to be able to have easy access to that because you want to stay hydrated and you want to stay nourished as well. If you do have to keep throwing your bag down to take a sip of water, that's going to limit your desire to drink as much water as you need to, and it's also going to limit it's going to limit how much water you're going to intake. It's going to limit the effectiveness of that water too, because you're burning up so much of it, putting it down your bag and searching through it. So keeping that at least some, what you're going to use for that leg of the trail, should be fairly accessible, more than any of your other stuff here. You know, your trowel for using the bathroom or anything else like that, that's fine. You're going to set down your bag anyway to use that. But these other items, these you're going to want to use on the trail, and you do want to have them. I don't know. I would love to eat some trail mix if I was out on a hike. You know, that would be an ideal thing. I shouldn't have to stop to eat my trail mix. It's supposed to be for the trail, so. Anyway, those are highly accessible items, and then I do recommend keeping them easily accessible, however that be. So you have your items that you want to make sure they are grouped closest to you, divided up among the people as well in your group, being prepared to ditch part of that loadout, and keeping these items highly accessible. Those are best bug out bag packing practices. And this isn't just bug out bag. This whole bug out thing should be planned for all of the vehicles. So if you're able to take a vehicle, you should know what you're going to be putting in that vehicle. You should already have the loadout planned. It doesn't need to be packed unless you're already staging to load out. But it should be ready. You should have a plan for what goes in there. And having a good bug out grab list is also important. That's a list of things that should be in the car too. Those items can be in the car as well. And I like to order my bug out grab list based on items of most importance. There are some exceptions to that, like if I have to put in something into the bag before I can put something else in, just because of the geometrics of how it loads, that something else is going to block the spot that I intend to put the other item. That can change that, but most of the time it is most important first, because it's going to be items I want to grab first. And so it should be chronological order in the end, chronological order for what you're grabbing, And hopefully that is most important items first. But there could be some things, because of packing restrictions, because of how your bag is made, that could alter that. So, thanks for watching.